And that situation actually was most of the rotten decking was where the soffit area was. So it hadn't hit the interior of the home. So looking up, we're all busy looking forward or down because everybody's on their phones. I tell everybody to look up. Just once in a while, look up and you're going to be mind blown at what you see or the signs that are actually there.
Real estate agent man.
Hello, Shaker.
Hi.
Welcome to my outdoor podcast studio.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. This is your first podcast.
It's-
Podcasting has become quite popular. Do you ever listen to podcasts?
I do.
Have you ever listened to the Real Estate Agent Man podcast?
I have.
Yes, good answer. What my goal is to reveal the secrets of Florida real estate that should not be secrets. When I first started looking at other podcasts online, trying to find out what other people were talking about already, I found the majority of podcasts were like how to invest in real estate or how to be a better realtor or just things that weren't necessarily for the average person buying, selling, owning their own home.
Sure.
Right? And as somebody who has, I've worked with a lot of buyers and sellers through the years, it's easy for me to continue to remember that before I went to real estate school and before I got my license and started doing this for a living, I thought I knew what I was talking about. Oh, but I was so wrong. One of the big ones that my wife learned after and was very embarrassed about after we got into real estate is back when we used to go looking for houses. I was usually the primary breadwinner because she was at home watching the kids. She was a stay-at-home mom when our kids were young. So, she would go driving around looking for yard signs, for sale signs, and calling the listing agent on every single sign, just trying to get information or whatnot. And she was doing that even though sometimes we had a realtor that was supposedly our realtor. Now, we didn't understand at that point in time how the whole real estate thing works. And if you're working with a realtor, you should be working with that realtor and let that realtor talk to all the other realtors. Otherwise, it gets really confusing, right? And that is just an example of how you can think you know what you're doing and think you understand what's going on,
Right.
and just be dead wrong. Now, you are in the roofing profession.
Yes, I am.
Okay. What types of things are you finding that the average homeowner doesn't know, but maybe thinks they know?
Right. Generally, it's leaks that are happening and going on, and they think, oh, this leak's only been happening in this area for about a month or two. Well, when we get in the attic, we do a full-on inspection. We crawl the entire attic as far as we can get, as far as low as the pitch goes, and then we can say...
Oh, no. Hold on. Dogs. Okay, so before my adorable little Shih Tzu started barking their heads off, you were talking about people maybe thinking that they have a small leak that hasn't had a chance to do a lot of damage but are wrong. So go back into that, please.
This customer, for example, had the leak happening towards the soffit, which is around the eave of the house. So that's where they think the leak is. For example, when I went into his attic, I noticed as I took down his aluminum barrier insulation shield, his entire decking, 24 foot up, was completely rotted out. And he had a tile roof, and I don't even know how it was holding the tile because it was that rotted out.
Wow. And he just thought that it was a little leak down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Now, why would he think it was just a little leak down at the bottom? What's the visual signs that causes a seller to think, oh, I have a little leak here?
Actually, in the exterior in his lanai system, it was showing within the drywall area.
Okay.
So that's where he was thinking maybe it's a gutter situation. It's getting backed up. So I checked the gutter. It wasn't clogged. I always get in the attic first thing because I want to know what I'm getting ready to walk on. So we crawl before we
Yes.
walk.
Okay. Hey, I
Such is
like
life.
that. Yes. That's good.
He was pretty mind blown. And I said, well, how long has this leak been going on? Because from what I could see from the underside, it's been going on for at least over a year and a half. And he said probably about 2 years. So with that being said, he just kept pushing it off. Well, he didn't realize the issue was 24 foot long down the valley, let alone 6 foot over.
Yeah.
So it could have been a small repair had he initially, that first water drop that he would have saw, coming through in the drywall, is he make a phone call. Because if not,
Right.
that little leak is a bigger leak somewhere else.
But even by the time he saw that little leak, it had already been leaking for some amount of time.
Yes, and the reason why he couldn't see that from the interior of his home until it did transcend a little bit inside, his HVAC system, so his air duct, was underneath. So all that water that's coming down was hitting the air duct and then dispersing. So
Okay.
it wasn't penetrating a straight focal point. Well, then it's all that water that's just rushing down, and where the HVAC wasn't was where it was more transparent to
Okay.
him. So that is why it took a long time for him to see, and he still doesn't see it necessarily on the inside of the house because it's hitting that HVAC system. So it's not hitting the drywall, but the decking was completely damaged.
Yeah, as somebody who goes into a lot of houses but not into attics,
Right.
okay, I go in, and as I'm helping buyers determine if this could be a good house or not, from house to house to house, I'm often looking up at the ceiling, even going into the closets and peeking up. Well, they're looking at, the type of countertop and the swimming pool
Correct.
and all that stuff. I'm walking around looking for more details. But even in that, I do let them know, okay, I haven't seen any signs of leaks on the ceiling. That doesn't mean there aren't any already happening that just
Correct.
haven't penetrated through yet.
Correct, because your soffit area can be 1 foot to 2 foot, some are 3 foot. So once it starts at the end, you're not seeing it on the inside until it's kicking, further back, and it's
Right.
time consuming as far as it to get that bad. But if they don't see it inside their home, that doesn't necessarily mean there's not a leak there.
Gotcha.
At all.
I was just having a thought as we're talking about like attics and all that kind of stuff. So for the listening audience, the first house that I met you at wasn't that large of a house with a big ceiling, easy to walk through. But the fact that you went through that the way you did and sent me pictures of all the different things going on that roof was so impressive. It's like, this girl is not afraid to get into tight spots.
No, that was a crawler.
And that was a crawler, and do what she's got to do. And so I kind of wanted to put that out there because that, as somebody who works with a lot of different service providers,
Sure.
You can tell the difference between a service provider who is like, I'm going to do whatever I can to do the best I can, and the service provider who isn't necessarily all that motivated
Right.
to go the extra mile or the extra foot and a half.
Correct.
So,
And that situation actually was most of the rotten decking was where the soffit area was. So it hadn't hit the interior of the home. So looking up, we're all busy looking forward or down because everybody's on their phones. I tell everybody, look up. Just once in a while, look up, and you're going to be mind blown at what you
Yep.
you see or the signs that are actually there.
yeah, and I know you guys ended up doing the roof right after
Yes,
the buyers
we did.
had bought that house. So, and that was another thing in that is that they had gotten other quotes. They actually got some quotes that were cheaper than you guys. But the conversation that I was able to have with them was that, cheaper doesn't mean better.
Correct.
And or it doesn't even mean as good.
Right.
And the fact that your roof is covering your entire investment, everything you own, and your family is under that roof.
Yes. And there could be a lot of mold issues with that.
That is true also. I happen to have bought a house that you guys just put a roof on, and now I'm gutting the bathrooms and all that good stuff because of mold.
Sure.
They had gone probably about 8 years longer than they should have without putting a roof on.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. That is a thing.
There's a man who leads a life of danger, showing houses day and night to strangers. With every call he takes, a chance that they are fakes, hoping they will buy a house tomorrow. Real estate agent man, real estate agent man. Write down his cell phone number, do not forget his name. Where the pretty pictures that you find, deceitful sellers make you lose your mind. estate.